Before we begin, I want you to pause for a moment and think about the last time something felt uncomfortable, not painful enough to run from, but heavy enough to make you hesitate. That space right there, the space between staying the same and stepping forward, is where growth quietly waits for us. Asterisk growth rarely announces itself in moments of comfort or ease. More often, it begins quietly at the edge of discomfort, in situations that challenge our patterns and force us to confront what we have been avoiding. Comfort feels safe, familiar, and predictable, but it also keeps us exactly where we are. Discomfort, on the other hand, asks us to stretch beyond what we know, even when we feel unprepared. It shows up as uncertainty, self-doubt, and emotional resistance, and our instinct is usually to pull back. Yet that very tension is often the signal that something within us is ready to evolve. When we stand at the edge of discomfort, we're standing at a threshold. On one side is who we have been, shaped by habits, fears, and old coping mechanisms. On the other side is who we are becoming, someone with more awareness, strength, and clarity. Growth does not require us to be fearless. It requires us to be willing. Willing to stay present when things feel awkward. Willing to move forward even, without guarantees. In that space of discomfort, resilience is built, self-trust is strengthened, and new possibilities begin to take form. Growth starts there, not because discomfort is pleasant, but because it is honest. Asterisk discomfort is often misunderstood as a warning sign, something that tells us we are failing or moving in the wrong direction. In reality, discomfort is frequently a sign that growth is already happening. When old habits, beliefs, or identities no longer fit, the space they leave behind can feel unsettling. That unease does not mean you are weak or incapable. It means you are stretching beyond what once defined you. Just as muscles ache when they are strengthening, the mind and heart experience discomfort when they are learning to operate in new ways. Failure feels final and defeating. But discomfort is temporary and purposeful. It shows up when you are questioning patterns that once felt normal, setting boundaries that feel unfamiliar, or choosing honesty over convenience. These moments feel uncomfortable precisely because they matter. They ask you to stay present instead of retreating to what is easy. They ask you to trust yourself before the results are visible, seeing discomfort as evidence of becoming changes. The way we respond to it, instead of resisting or judging ourselves, we can meet it with curiosity and compassion. We can say, "This feels hard because I am growing." That shift in perspective turns discomfort into a companion rather than an enemy, reminding us that we are not breaking down. We are building something stronger within ourselves. Asterisk choosing growth is one of the most sincere forms of self-respect, because it means you are honoring your inner truth instead of abandoning it for comfort or approval. It is an acknowledgement that your needs, values, and well-being matter enough to be taken seriously. Growth often requires difficult decisions, such as setting boundaries, changing direction, or walking away from situations that no longer serve you. These choices can feel uncomfortable, but they are rooted in care rather than punishment. You are not being hard on yourself. You are being honest. Self-compassion plays a quiet but essential role in growth. It reminds you that you are allowed to move at your own pace, to make mistakes, and to learn as you go. Choosing growth does not mean expecting perfection from yourself. It means offering patience when you fall short and encouragement when the path feels heavy. It is the decision to stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that ask you to betray who you are. When you choose growth, you are telling yourself that you deserve a life that feels aligned, not just acceptable. That message, repeated through small and consistent actions, builds trust within yourself. Over time, self-respect and self-compassion work together, transforming growth from a struggle into an act of care. Asterisk healing and growth are often treated as separate journeys, but in reality, they move together, even when the process feels overwhelming. Healing asks us to acknowledge what hurt us, while growth asks us to decide what we will do with that awareness. Both can feel heavy, especially when old wounds resurface just as we are trying to move forward. It can be confusing to feel pain and progress at the same time, but these experiences do not cancel each other out. They coexist, shaping us gently and honestly. There are moments when growth feels like reopening something you worked hard to close. In those moments, it is easy to believe you are going backward. But healing is not linear, and growth is not measured by the absence of pain. Sometimes, the very act of noticing discomfort with more awareness is a sign that healing is already underway. You are no longer numb or unaware. You are present. Allowing healing and growth to exist together requires patience and kindness toward yourself. It means understanding that feeling tired does not mean you are failing, and needing rest does not mean you are giving up. When you allow yourself to heal while still choosing growth, you create space for a future that is not only stronger, but softer and more compassionate as well. Courage is often imagined as something loud and dramatic. But in real life, it is built quietly through small and consistent choices. It is choosing to show up when you would rather withdraw, choosing honesty when silence feels safer, and choosing to try again even after disappointment. These moments may seem insignificant on their own, but together they shape a resilient inner strength. Courage does not arrive all at once. It grows with repetition. Every time you make a small decision that aligns with your growth, you teach yourself that you can be trusted. You do not need to overhaul your life overnight or take fearless leaps to be brave. Sometimes courage is simply staying present with your emotions instead of avoiding them. Sometimes it is asking for help, resting when needed, or setting one gentle boundary. These choices may not be visible to others, but they matter deeply. Over time, these small acts compound. What once felt impossible begins to feel manageable. What once felt terrifying begins to feel familiar. Courage becomes less about overcoming fear and more about moving forward alongside it. By honoring the power of small, consistent steps, you allow courage to grow naturally, reminding yourself that progress does not require perfection, only persistence and care.